Alright, see if I can place myself well. So hard to start. Hi, welcome. It's another week of Road 35 to Infinity. What can I say? It's been a lot lately. I feel like this is the time of the year where everything starts to happen, and suddenly all the time I felt like I thought I would have during this time is gone, and I'm again in a situation where I'm struggling, or I'm dealing with time. Changing the words, not struggling, I'm dealing with time. I just need to find the little pockets here and there where I can practice. Something that is very clear to I think to a lot of people, but to get to practice is not easy. The circumstances around our practice, they change like the season. When everything is good, it's like summertime, and your three best friends come to join your practice, and these friends being excitement, motivation, and inspiration. They come and join your practice, and everything just feels amazing. And having them with you makes you want to put in the work to reach your goals. And when they're around, everything else pretty much comes second. Anything else can wait. Practice first. And then there are moments that are like winter, and your three best friends decided to go hibernate somewhere, and they're no more to be seen. I mean they do show up sometimes, but not as eager maybe. So they might not show up together anymore. You might be inspired but not feel motivated. As I've been doing these videos, not only like am I very aware that my practice goes up and down, and it's very clear also when I do go back to my previous videos to check that, in December, January, I was not motivated. Life was happening, and I was in not a happy place. And then just a few weeks after that, I remember I was teaching at OSA, and that was amazing, and my life energy and my motivation to practice just spiked. And then and it goes like this. And just recent, I went to an event. The outcome of the event made me feel the need to change my practice. I didn't get my achievement, or I didn't get the outcome I was expecting. I need to change. Things are not good as they are. A week or two later, I'm in a residency, looking back at the footage of my practice, of me exploring, of me failing but finding stuff, just inspired me, and that doesn't happen so often, I feel like. So what I'm trying to say is that basically your training is never gonna be the same, and it's important to be aware of that, and also to not linger on all those good practices that you have, or even on the bad practices. Those are in the past. They don't exist anymore. And it's also very easy for me to have this fear of moving backwards in my practice. If I don't get to practice the amounts or the days or the time that I've set my mind to, it's easy to feel that any progress I've been making, that it starts to leave me. And especially when, as I mentioned, that especially when I have weeks or moments when I really can dive into my practice and I can feel what it does. I can feel that I am moving forward, and I start to feel, and I can see, and because I'm filming my practices, I can see things are happening. Because you're in a state of motion, anytime that things slow you down, it makes me feel like I don't know, that I don't want to have these things hold me up, because I'm in such a, life happens and things will require your time and attention, or at least for me, things happen that require my time, my attention, and it's gonna force me to place my practice from first place to second, and sometimes even third or fourth. And when that starts to happen, it just bums me out. It just makes me feel so sad when that happens. When it comes to time and limits, and something that tends to stress me out, and I'm trying to be more aware of it. That's why also these footages, these videos that I'm doing are great, because I can just look back, which I did, look back to early videos or to videos when I've been struggling with time, to remind myself of the things, of my solutions. It doesn't always have to be the full practice to keep things moving forward. If my ideal, like if I'm free from everything and I can just go into practice and do my full program, I'll spend an hour and a half, 2 hours of my time enjoying just putting in the work. But what is then my minimum version of that? It doesn't always have to be that long, but if I can make anything of my practice fit in like within less time, without losing the quality of it, but just to keep my body going, to keep the practice and the consistency, to keep the engine running, so that the work is still being put in until another moment when I can practice fully. This is where like I'm very aware that I'm a very structured person in that sense, but I love it and I enjoy it, and now I'm thankful for it, because of my structure, my practice looks in a specific way and it's set in different sections, and each section will require X amount of time. Thanks to this, now it's easy for me to look in, okay, if this section here requires 20 minutes, okay, how much can I reduce so that I still feel like I'm putting in work into it, but it's just like pretty much warming it up into it and then moving on to the next one. Warming up into it, moving on to the next one, and so on and so on. And that is more for me not to be stuck on the focus that I always have to progress, but that I am just keeping, like I said, I'm just keeping the engine running, and that's the purpose of my practice during a busy week. What's been working for me now is that if I have my practice very clear, I can just look at it. So if my full practice is an hour and a half, 2 hours, can I make it fit within less than an hour? If yes, amazing. And then in that busy week or on that busy day, can I give myself an hour to practice? If that's not possible, then I have a second option, which is then to pick. Because I've structured my practice in different sections, I then look at my practice and I then prioritize. What are the things that are the most important? And I rank them. And depending on the amount of time I have, if I have half an hour on that day, what can I fit in within half an hour? Okay, maybe it's the part A and part B. I grab those and I'm content with that, because again, it's about the consistency. I got to work, I put in half an hour, my mind can rest, I feel good, and I can move on to the next thing. If I have even less, let's say I have 15 minutes, okay, maybe I can just prioritize one thing, but then I take the most important thing and I make sure that I make that happen, and my body get to experience that fragment of that practice, but it's reminded, it's still there, and I move on. And it's just really, again, the thing that I come back to is about keeping the engine running and about consistency. I know for myself that this busyness is only temporary. 3 out of 5 days of days that I practice, that might be super busy, but at least I might get 2 days where I'm like, okay, I can dive into this now. And then it might be a period where it's like very busy, but I just keep my body active, keep my practice active, and then there'll come a time where I can dive deep and I make sure that I have that time and I block everything out. Maybe I can block everything out and I get to my practice. I'm sure that somebody's thinking that, but if you don't get to your practice, let's say if you don't get to your practice on Monday, why not just move it to Tuesday if you are free the next day? And I've tried this. I've tried, if I know, okay, Monday I'm busy, but Tuesday I'm gonna be free. All right, I'll just do it the next day. So I just don't do it on Monday. But then Tuesday arrives and suddenly there were a bunch of things I needed to do. Maybe there were things from Monday that carried over to Tuesday or new things came in. I'm back in the same situation and maybe feel, okay, I'm not gonna get to practice today either, so I'll postpone it. I'll just do it on Wednesday. And maybe I do get to it on Wednesday, but it's so unpredictable. If it works for you, amazing. Then do that. But for me, it didn't work, and I feel instead with the it lingers that I feel like I had to postpone, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna get to practice again. So that's why for me, I'd rather do a very, very short version of my practice or take a segment of my practice and do that than not do anything at all. Those are the two options I have that I joggle between during busy times and when I feel like, oof, I'm finding it hard to get to practice. And last week was a week like that. And I think this is a period for me that is like that, where I have more things that need to come first before my practice. I still want to somehow manage to get it in there. I don't want to stop moving towards my goals because the due date of this video is moving closer. I mean, still like months left, but time flies. Just wanted to get that off my chest and to share with you, like, just again where I am in my practice, and things come again. So it might be things that I've experienced before, and then it comes back. But this is the cycle of practice, that things come and go. So what I want to put emphasis on is that a little bit counts, and it's about consistency. So during times when you're overwhelmed and you feel like, I have no time, a little bit. If you can fit in 15 minutes, then those 15 minutes are gonna make you feel better. At least for me. I feel much better if I can get to spend just 15 minutes on something. At least that was a way for me to keep that engine running. So that's it for me this week, and I'm curious to hear how do you deal with busy weeks when you feel like you don't have any time. Do you let go of practice fully and then you get back to it when you have time again? Or do you somehow adapt your practice accordingly? Let me know in the comments below, because I'm very curious to see how people do during these times. Enjoy your practice, and I'll see you in the next video.